Welcome, everybody. We're very happy to have you here at this, our inaugural webinar for the Aspen Digital Equity Accelerator in Morocco. We're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves, and then we're going to get started with a brief presentation on the accelerator itself, followed by all of your questions answered to the best of our ability. So without further ado, I will hand it over to my colleague, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Masat al-khair, everyone joining us from Morocco this afternoon. We are thrilled to be able to share more information about this pilot Digital Equity Accelerator program, which is launching in Morocco, of course, India, and the US. My name is Jennifer Atallah. I am the project lead for this accelerator program. Andrew, my colleague here, is our project coordinator. And we are going to spend the next 45 minutes to an hour, whatever it takes, to tell you a little bit more about the program and, of course, answer any questions that we can. I will preface by saying that if we do not have an answer to your question, we will take your email if you are willing, and we will research it and come back to you. We also have, you'll find at the end of this presentation, we have an email, which is also on our website, www.aspendigitalequity.org, that you can always reach out to if you have any further questions after today. And so with that, let's get started.
Perfect. All right. First off, we're going to talk a little bit about what we're here to do today, and that is advance digital equity. Digital equity is a broad concept, but we draw on a definition from the organization National Digital Inclusion Alliance, which notes that it's a condition in which all individuals and communities have the information technology capacity needed for full participation in our society, democracy, and economy. Basically, the goal overall is to ensure that those who have been historically excluded can access the digital skills, representation, literacy, and of course, access needed to participate fully in a modern digital society. We break digital equity up into these 4 categories because we believe that this comprehensively covers everything needed to meet that high barrier of criteria. We focus on access, the ability for people to access technology, the internet, those devices needed to participate, literacy, the ability to use effectively those devices, to navigate them, to understand how to turn these into effective participation in such a society, representation, the inclusion of marginalized groups in industry and the discussions about how these things are implemented, ensuring that they are a key piece of the puzzle as we develop towards a more thoroughly digital world, and skills, the ability to use technical skills to repair, to manage, to overall ensure that we can take control of the materials and devices that govern this world.
Thank you, Andrew. Our program will be launching at the beginning of June. As you know, we are in the middle of our application period, which ends at the end of the day Eastern Time on March 21st of this year. The program itself will last 4 months, and during that time, participants will receive direct hands-on mentorship and training. Our program is going to be effectively split into 2 different areas. The first part is going to be really focused on project development for your digital equity solution. And so if you've seen our application or read our guidelines online, you already know that we ask a number of questions about what is your idea? What is the digital equity solution and the challenge that you are trying to solve? Why are you the best organization positioned to address that challenge? And so we're going to take that idea and really workshop it. We're going to use effectively agile product development approaches to project development here. So that's the first aspect of the training. The second aspect of the training is going to be focused on nonprofit leadership and management skills. And during the course of the programming itself, you're going to have, those who participate are going to have direct access to 2 different types of mentors, technical experts, as well as what we are calling growth advisors, who are going to coach each of you who are participating through the entire process as you continue to develop both your idea and continue to develop as an organization. Secondly, each participating organization is going to receive an over $100,000 cash award that is provided by HP. Thirdly, also from HP, you who are participating will receive as much innovative technology from HP as makes sense and is possible, obviously with the caveat that we have to rely on distribution channels, and given the current status of the pandemic, we can't guarantee exactly what or when those products will be received. And then finally, those who are participating will receive post-program support, both from us here at Aspen Digital, as well as with continued interactions with our mentors.
We have a number of eligibility criteria laid out, and we'll go over them here briefly today. Obviously, as we've stated in the past and on our website, the program is primarily gathering organizations out of the US, India, and of course, Morocco. So doing your work in these countries, the threshold is 75% or more within the target country will qualify you to be part of this program. This is a digital equity program, but digital equity touches every aspect of our modern day lives. So we are looking for people who are promoting digital equity in spaces of economic opportunity, education, and or public health and the healthcare space. These definitions are fluid. Of course, you can intersect one or more depending on the work you're doing. But seeing that impact in these spaces is important to us, and we encourage you to show that in the application. You do not necessarily have to be working on digital equity at the outset. However, we are looking for organizations with proven impact and a proven ability to connect to their target communities and a clear idea of how they want to promote digital equity in these spaces. And so we're looking at your ability to expand an existing program or scale a program to promote digital equity. We are looking at nonprofits and NGOs, and so you do have to be legally registered in that capacity where you're working. You have to be able to complete all required sessions. At least one senior individual has to attend them all. Depending on the amount of time in a given week, this could range from 4 to 8 hours to complete the required sessions. Notably, all sessions are in English, so fluency in English is required. And of course, consistent and reliable access to the internet, since this is a digital program.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I'll add to that too, since we've had this question recently from some other prospective applicants. If you've seen our application, you know that there's a question that asks if you have a percentage, well, let's say if over 75% of your operations are in one of our target countries, and so in this case, Morocco. The reason we ask that question is because we do have a strong preference for organizations whose operations are at least 75%, if not more, in one of our target countries, which is going to include, of course, Morocco, as well as India and the US. And so if you are based outside of Morocco, that's fine, as long as you have a significant amount of your portfolio of operations in Morocco. And of course, as with everything about this application, if you simply are able to make your case and pitch us with why you should be considered to be in this program, we will be reading each application very carefully. So continuing on that, in terms of how we're going to actually select organizations participating in this pilot program, which will serve 6 nonprofits, ideally 2 per the country. The first thing we're looking at is the need. How would you actually benefit from these resources? Both, the digital equity solution building part of our program, as well as the hard resources of hardware and cash. Do you have a plan already as to how you would utilize the resources in order specifically to further impact in one of our target communities, which you should already have proven impact in supporting? So it's okay if you don't already have a specific digital equity solution programming element of your nonprofit, but you need to have proven impact in serving one of these, if not more of these target communities in one or more of these sectors, and show us how you are able to translate that impact into the digital equity solution space. So second, we're looking at the project idea that you're sharing with us. We don't want you to have a fully formed idea. That's the whole point of this accelerator, is to really go deeper, to build this and to design it in a way that's going to be sustainable and impactful. However, you need to have thought through what it is that you want to do. Why are you the best organization to actually develop and implement this idea? How are you already integrated? How is this project idea integrated into your broader mission? Does it make sense for your organization to do this project? And are you able to develop it during our program and ideally launch it afterwards? Third, we're looking at your impact. Of course, we are looking at the overall impact that your organization already makes in serving our target community areas. We also want to understand, have you thought through what the impact of this project idea might be? So how will you measure your project's impact? Are the goals of your project SMART? What is the potential reach of this project? How many households? How many individuals? How could it scale in the future? So we just want to see that you've thought through this and that it makes sense given where your organization currently is at. It does not need to be a final plan that you're ready to launch tomorrow. That's why we're hoping these organizations that participate will go through our program to really refine an idea that already has been initially thought through. And then finally, we're looking at your team. Why are you the best organization and the best individuals to actually design and implement the solution that you are going to submit to us? How are you already integrated in the communities that we want to make an impact in our target communities of traditionally underserved populations? Are your business practices professionalized? Because we are starting with this pilot program, we want to make sure that there is a baseline of professionalism and abilities to really both manage a team and project, as well as the ability to grow from where you are today. So hopefully that helps. And of course, feel free to start putting some questions into our question and answer box if you have any questions, which we will open up to at the end of this presentation.
And that covers our initial overview. So we hope that was helpful and better understanding the accelerator. And we're now going to open up the floor to questions like Jennifer mentioned. So there is a question and answer box, and we encourage you to write your questions there. We will see them and then we can read them out and go over what we have to offer for answers one by one.
And while we're waiting for hopefully some questions from you all, I just want to thank you again for spending your afternoon with us. And we're really, I've seen the list of participants. We're really excited that you're here. We hope that if this program makes sense for you, you will apply. You have a month still to spend some time on this application. Of course, if you have any further questions beyond today, please email us. Andrew will drop the email in the chat. And let's see, I think we have a first one.
Yes. It sounds like an individual started filling in the form and noticed that they cannot insert links. I was not aware that was specifically an issue. However, we're more than happy to look into that. I would actually ask you to drop your email in the chat so we can contact you and follow up to see if there's a specific area or question that you're specifically having difficulty doing that in. That'll help us troubleshoot.
Yeah, thank you, Hoda. If you could just let us know in an email which question it is that you're having trouble with. That's really curious because a lot of our answer fields are just open-ended with a word count. And so I'm surprised that's happening. So we definitely want to look into that. Thank you for raising that question. And I'll just
Yes,
remind folks on the call too that we have a number of resources on our website that will hopefully help you as you're thinking through answers to the questions. We have an FAQ, which you can access from a number of different spots on our website, including the About and the Apply. So please take a look at the FAQ, the frequently asked questions. We will actually update that as we get questions if it makes sense. And secondly, please take a look at the guidelines document. It was really important for us to make sure that you have as much information upfront as possible before you spend time in our application. And so the guidelines document goes over every single open-ended question and gives you some ideas of questions to think through as you are contemplating how to best answer that question. I will say, ultimately, just be clear, concise, and consistent. So we want to, you're pitching us, you know, why, what do you want to do? Why is it impacting these communities? Why are you the best ones to further this solution? And just show us that you've thought this through. And we're really looking forward to reading your applications. I also will tell you, as we're collecting some more questions here, that the application process is anonymized. And so even though we can see your names here today, we will not see your names in the application. So we will not be able to, so there's no preference given to anyone who's shown up here on the webinar. We will be, however, evaluating applicants from each country vis-a-vis other applicants for that country. So all applicants who are applying as a Morocco NGO or nonprofit that operates, you know, in Morocco will be evaluated against one another there. We're not going to be evaluating you against US applicants or India-based applicants. Let's take a look at the Q&A.
Yes, we do have a couple additional questions. We have one that actually gets to the heart of kind of what we're doing here. Are there any specific indicators that prompted your team to include India, Morocco, and the US as target countries for the accelerator? So, I mean, I can tell you off the bat that we recognize that digital equity is a very broad and diverse problem around the world. And we are attempting to apply our training, our knowledge, and our resources to really come up with diverse solutions that can tackle it from a bunch of different angles. And we recognize that the US, India, and Morocco represent three very different use cases for this. We recognize specifically in Morocco that there has been an explosion of very promising activity around digital entrepreneurship, digital growth, and access and connectivity. And that there still remains some work to be done. And we are happy to be a part of that work and kind of contribute to the development of that in this unique and exciting way.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. That's a great answer. I'll add, Faye, that you know, this digital inequity is a global issue. And part of us choosing three very different geographies across the world is to illustrate that this is a global issue. And it's very important, in particular, in this current era that we're all living through, which is this global pandemic, where so much of you know, our economy, education, and even access to healthcare has gone online. And what does that mean from so many different perspectives? Everything from, you know, as we've defined earlier in our discussion about how we're defining digital equity, everything from understanding how to interact with digital tools to representation in building those tools, for example. Another, you know, as Andrew mentioned, you know, each of these countries has a strong baseline of intersectional, cross-sectoral support to really address the digital divide, and that's important to us. And a promising ecosystem of prospective applicants who are who could further address those solutions. And there's just so much need everywhere, but we see a nice sort of blend of both opportunity and need in each of these spaces. And then finally, you know, we are working alongside HP, and it was important to everyone as well that we are able to easily leverage HP's resources in this process, which is the case in each of these countries as well.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. We have another question that asks, could we share any project examples that were previously chosen and funded? This is a pilot. This is the first cohort of what we hope will be a lasting accelerator commitment. So you actually get to blaze that path and decide what a successful application looks like. Our criteria are broad, but if you think that you have a viable solution to promote digital equity in our target communities, and you think that your solution is of the utmost importance and urgent, we encourage you to apply and make that argument, because we are willing to hear your case for why you are the ideal applicant for this.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. I see also another question about the equipment needed from HP. So actually there is a multiple choice question, and you can select all that apply in the application, which lists out, broadly speaking, what some of the hardware options are that HP could potentially provide, as well as another where you can add something that's not listed in that list. And that's the extent to which we are gathering information on that question. Once the finalists have been selected, we will be immediately putting them in touch with HP contacts directly in order to finalize what that list and needs looks like. But there is that multiple choice select all that apply question in there, which is pretty broad, and that's as far as we're going to go. There is also, though, a question related to that asks how you plan on using the hardware. So again, we're not looking for you to answer questions that you're unable to answer, but we do want to see that you've thought this through, right? So if, for example, you are an organization that is working on digital literacy for girls in an underserved community, and you need, X number of tablets to, provide in partnership with whatever schools or institutions you're working with, et cetera. That's an example of how you might want to consider answering that question.
Great. I will also note that I just dropped the email for the accelerator into the chat, so everyone should be able to see that. And if you do have any additional follow-up questions after this meeting, please do not hesitate to reach out, and we'll be able to get back to you as soon as we can, to the best of our ability.
Thank you, Andrew.
Do we have any further questions at this time? It looks like we've answered all of them in the chat.
Yeah, it looks like we're good. Thank you all again so much for joining us this afternoon. Good luck with your application. Take your time. Of course, email us if you have any further questions. Take a look, please, at our frequently asked questions and our guidelines document on the website, and we would be more than happy to answer any questions after that, of course. And if you are interested and able to do so, please continue to spread the word in your networks and communities about this fantastic opportunity that we're excited to be piloting this year.
Great. Well, thank you all so much for joining. We hope to see your applications, and until then, we hope you have a great day.
Bye, thank you.